Hello folks, Bob Scott here, bringing you our deal of the week. I'm going to walk you through this property start to finish and show you how we bought it, really break down the numbers from you, what the cash flow looks like, what the back end sales profit looks like, show you how we negotiated the deal, how long it took us to sell it, and really what the advantages are to investing in real estate versus other asset classes. As you can see, this is a picture of the front of the house. Nothing too fancy. This is kind of a bread and butter deal for us. This is a little 1.5 story home, about 1,600 square feet with 1-car garage. Oops. Some pictures of the interior of the property. Hardwood floors, bathroom, slightly dated, kitchen's been updated. Again, nothing too fancy, but this is on par with the neighborhood. This is a very clean property, up to standards. As you can see, this is a 3-bed, 2-bath house, 1,586 square feet, has 1-car garage and a full partially finished basement. The other thing that I really like about this property is it has a half-acre lot with a lot of really well-developed mature trees. I know relative to the neighborhood that this is much larger than your average home, so it's really going to stand out against the rest of the competition and really help us sell this property quickly. Our total investment on this one was $40,000 between purchase and repairs. The other really great thing about real estate is that you know what you're getting into ahead of time. So before we even put this house under contract, we were able to look up what the comparable sales and rent projections are for this neighborhood. If you have access to the MLS, the multiple listing service, that is the best source for sold comps and rental comps. There are other ways to acquire this information, especially nowadays with the websites such like Zillow, Trulia, Yahoo Real Estate. I think has some comps as well. You can pull off sale comps, but be warned that they are not as accurate as the MLS. And if you have any capability at all to get access to MLS, you should do so and strictly use those numbers. So as we can see here, we had a property sell for $72,000, one for $105,000, another one for $74,000, another one for $94,000, all with relatively close square footage figures. Ours was 1,556 square feet, and these were all probably within half a mile, 3/4 of a mile at furthest from our property. Zillow gave us an estimate of $99,000, so Zillow in this case was actually relatively close, but I've seen Zillow figures be just crazy, way low and on the opposite end of the spectrum, way high. So again, use those as initial gut overview if you are unfamiliar with the neighborhood, but do not rely on those at all. Rental comps, again, I recommend using the multiple listing service. If you don't have that, the best next source I would say is rentometer.com, or going on Craigslist and seeing what people are posting similar properties for in the area. Our MLS produced these 3 comps at the top: $1,000 a month, $850 a month, and $1,175 a month. Rentometer actually came up with a median rent of $850, $875 for this neighborhood, but I know that Rentometer is going off the average home, the median home in that area, and this property is above average in its square footage, and also the fact that it has that half-acre lot. So I went ahead and kind of pulled the upper end of Rentometer, which gave $1,000 to about high 1200s on rent. And also we use lease option exit strategy, so I know we're going to be on the higher end of that as well, and can occasionally command well above market rent. And in this house, in this particular case, we actually did. So what did we end up selling this property for? We ended up finding a lease option tenant buyer to sign paperwork within 2 weeks of us closing on it. So this buyer put $4,000 down payment up front, and when I say down payment, I mean non-refundable option deposit. So if in the event our buyer backs out, we keep that money. It's non-refundable, and this person is going to pay us a monthly rent of $1,500 with $200 credited towards the purchase price every month that they're in the property. with a final sales price of $89,900, and they have 2 years to execute their option to buy. Typically, we do a 1-year scenario, but with this one paying $1,500 a month, we ended up extending it out for another year, saying no big rush on our end. We'll take the extra cash flow, and you have some extra time to qualify for a loan and actually execute the sale. So what do our monthly expenses look like? We know what's coming in the door, the $1,500, what's going out. Real estate taxes on this property run at $1,848 per year, which breaks down to $154 per month. That is actually a little bit high in my experience. Traditionally, the home of this size and what we paid for it should probably run around $1,100, $1,200 a month, and that's something that most counties across the country you can challenge your assessment value. Here in St. Louis County, we have a company that actually specializes in this, that you can just pass it off to them and they'll negotiate on your behalf. So we kind of have a setup where we just naturally pass these off to them and they negotiate it for us. Insurance premium runs $730 per year, which breaks down to just under $61 a month. And management, we have $0. Repairs and maintenance, $0 a month. Utilities, $0. You probably ask yourself, Bob, how do you have a rental property and you're not paying any management, repairs and maintenance, or utilities on it? Yes, for a traditional rental, you would have to pay those as a landlord, but this is not a traditional rental. We use a lease option exit strategy, and this is right here is the big kicker. This is why I love using lease options as an exit strategy. We put the repair and maintenance responsibility on the tenant buyer. We explain to them, hey, look, you're going to be buying this property. As a condition of the option, you are going to be responsible for all these items. So if something breaks, do not call us. It's going to be your responsibility, and the lease agreement clearly spells that out. So not only are you saving the cost for potential repair issues that come up, you're also saving the management hassles of receiving those phone calls from tenants and then having to coordinate with a contractor. All that stuff can really destroy your time, along with destroying your monthly cash flow. That's why these options, like I said again, are so great. So we have a total monthly expenses are added up to $215 a month. So with the $1,500 coming in and that going out, we end up with a monthly cash flow of $1,285 each and every month. And again, that's for a all cash purchase scenario. If you throw down the $40,000 up front, if you have any type of debt service, that's obviously going to come out of this figure. If you have, for those folks in the commercial world, this monthly cash flow would be similar to what we consider a net operating income. If you're going to be getting commercial loans, typically nowadays you can get a 20-year amortization loan with 3 to 5 year balloon running right around 6% interest rate. And if you can get a 30-year fixed interest rate, obviously that's going to be better from a cash flow perspective, and rates are just over 4% these days. So overall, we had a total investment of $36,000. That's the $40,000 between purchase and repairs, less the $4,000 we received up front from a tenant buyer, and we have a yearly cash flow of $15,422 a month. That's our $1,285 figure that we just saw times 12 months in a year, and so that gives us a yearly cash on cash return. This is for an all cash. This is assuming you paid all cash for this property. If you're in the commercial world, this figure would be equivalent to what's called cap rate, capitalization rate, 42.8%. That means, so we paid, we have a total investment of $36,000, and each year we're going to be making $15,000 off of that $36,000 investment. So 42.8%, we're basically return on our money in a yearly basis, just based on cash flow. That's not counting the back end sales profit of when our tenant buyer ends up closing on the sale of our property. So even if for whatever reason the end buyer doesn't end up buying, no matter what, we're making this 42.8% figure. We're not counting on appreciation, folks. This is, again, not a hope and pray strategy. This is cash flow every month that comes in. We cash the check, and and make our money right then and there. It's not an unrealized gain like in the stock market. So what does our back-end sales profit look like? Again, we've got a lot of equity in this deal. We bought it for and we're in it for, between purchase and repairs, for $40,000. You saw the comps. You saw what things are selling for. We ended up moving in at $89,900. So that's a 44% investment to value ratio. That means even if the real estate market, for whatever reason, drops, we still have a lot of equity here to cover ourselves. I mean, say this property drops in value $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000. We still got a healthy spread in there to cover ourselves. I like calling these lease options trifecta deals because we're going to be making money three ways. Basically, we made our $4,000 within 2 weeks of us buying it as a non-refundable auction deposit. For whatever reason, our tenant buyer backs out, we keep that. And then in the scenario that they buy, that obviously counts towards their purchase price. We're making money every month that they're in the property, the $1,285 a month cash flow. And we have a back-end sales profit of just shy of $46,000. That's our $89,900 sales profit, less the $4,000 down payment, and less the $40,000 that we have invested into the property. Not too shabby. So break down a couple different scenarios for you. Let's say our tenant buyer ends up closing the sale at the 1 year mark. Our total profit is going to be the $4,000 down payment, the $15,422 for 1 year of cash flow, plus the $45,900 back-end sales profit, less the $200 a month times 12 months rent credit. That figure adds up to $2,400. So again, that's total of $63,000. You're going to have a little bit of closing costs here, but in general, as a seller, as long as you're not giving away the farm to your buyer for paying for their closing costs, their loan fees, origination fees, prepaids, that sort of thing, there's really not too much closing costs on a sale on the sell side of a HUD-1. Really a couple $100. And then some prorations that come out of there, but that doesn't count towards profit. If the tenant buyer ends up buying at the 2 year mark, we're obviously going to make a little bit more money. We have that extra year of cash flow. That's where that $30,844 figure comes in. But don't forget, we also have an extra year of rent credit that has to come off the top. That's where that $4,800 figure comes in. But a total profit of $76,000 for a $40,000 investment over a 2 year period. Not too bad. Why real estate? Well, I think those numbers gave you a good idea, but some of the other reasons. Cash flow versus unrealized gain. What does that mean? So again, this property yields just shy of 43% per year just from the rents. That's not counting what the back end sales profit. And that's money in the bank. That's a check we receive every month from our tenant buyer that we go in cash and can do with whatever we please. If you invest in the stock market, let's say you have a stock you pay $100 for, and your stock goes up to 110. You might say, Bob, I just made 10%. Well, did you? That is an unrealized gain. You don't make that money until you sell that stock off. And when you do sell that stock off, you're going to have to pay commissions off the top as well. So your stock account might be going up 10% a year, 15% a year. But what happens when another October 2008 rolls around? A lot of people's 401ks turn into 201ks that fall, and you don't want to be sitting there kind of biting your fingernails watching your E-Trade account tumble down. That's the great thing about real estate is, again, we have such huge equity positions when we buy this property. We're not as worried about where the market is going up, down, or sideways. No matter what, even if the market's going down, we're still making 42% a year on our investment because we never pay full price and we get cash flow. So we got a lot of room to cover ourselves. And again, it's something tangible. Even if you looked at this home from a replacement cost value, what would it cost to build this home brand new today? it would probably cost close to this, $90,000, $100,000, if not more figure. I mean, it's a 1,600 square foot house with a full basement. It would probably cost you actually probably 110, 120. That's if you know what you're doing and can get materials on the cheap and really kind of crank these things out in more of a volume type business. Real estate, people will always need a roof over their heads. It can never really go to zero where, the stock you invest in, that business could, something could happen where it changes those business market dynamics and overnight, the company's valuation could rapidly change and could go down 80%, for some reason, 90%, 100%, it could be worth virtually nothing almost overnight. Anyways, folks, hopefully I've explained a little bit about why I believe real estate is one of the best investment vehicles out there. And if you're interested in kind of hearing more about these deals, and you can shoot me an email here. Here's our email, stlouismohome@gmail.com. Put in the subject line, I want cash flow.